We're with Ruben Lopez of Crystal City. And Ruben, just starting off from the very beginning, where were you born?
I was born in Laredo, Texas.
Laredo, Texas. And how did you get, what brought you to Crystal City?
Well, my father at that time come over to Crystal, and we've been here since 1925.
Okay. When were you born?
I was born on April the 17th, 1922.
1922. Okay, so you were a very small child when you came here.
I was about 3 or 4 years old.
Yeah, okay. And then did you grow up here? Did you go to high school here?
I didn't finish. I was one of those guys that had to drop out.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What did you do when you dropped out?
Well, I had to go into work, whatever, to try to help the rest of the family. We were 16 in the family.
Oh, wow.
And I was right on in the middle, and that's the reason why I didn't have a chance to get an education.
Okay.
But I learned enough how to get life.
Okay. How old were you, where were you, and how old were you on December 7th, 1941?
Right here in Crystal City.
You were here in Crystal City? Do you remember what you were doing when you heard the news?
Well, it was just a big surprise, just like anybody else.
Yeah.
In the first place, I never did trust the Japanese. And I know, coming into my mind, that there was something wrong. They wasn't going to come out with the good intentions.
Right. Okay, and so you're 18 or 19 at this time, right? Mm-hmm. In 41? Mm-hmm. Late 41? Yeah, I guess you're 19.
It was about 17, I guess, 18, because I was 20.
Okay.
I was 20 when I went into the service.
And how did you join the service? What did you do?
Well, you mean when I went in the service? I was up north, and they gave me 3 months so I can bring my family home, and then go into the service.
So you were drafted?
I was drafted.
Okay. Do you think you would have enlisted had you not been drafted?
I didn't want to enlist it because I have a daughter at that time, and it was she was born right there in Michigan.
Yeah. Okay. So you were drafted, and you were drafted into the Army?
In the Army.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And where did they send you?
When at that time, then you don't have the chance to have the choice they have now. A soldier. As a soldier. You go where they tell you to go.
Not a lot of choice.
And I went into Fort Sam, and from there they shipped me into Colorado, 1942, December. Well, it was Christmas Eve when I got to Camp Hale, Colorado.
In 42?
In 42.
Okay. And do you know what the circumstances were that led you to, like, why did you go to Colorado? Why did you get into the 10th Mountain Division? Why did you get into the ski division?
At that time, I didn't know. Because I didn't know enough. I was just going in.
Uh-huh.
I didn't know anything about the training that I was going to get, nothing. I just took the training that they'll give me, the ski and cross country, ski, and it's that's the way it worked.
How did you?
Well, from there, we went on to California, to Chipos, to the Pacific.
Did you know, as you're going through your training, prior to sending you to California and onto the Pacific, did you have an idea that you were going to the European or Pacific theater?
Well, when I was there, I haven't no idea that I was going to go to Europe. See, I was going to the Pacific. I knew that.
You did know that.
Yeah, I know. And we served there probably 4 or 5 months in order to get these people from the other 2 regiments to come into Colorado to have the same training that I had there.
Okay.
Then we joined the division. Then we come back to Texas to have a special training right here in Bastrop, you know. Right around it. We had the training that we didn't have it before, flatline training. See, we were training up in the mountains at that time up there. And then we got in Virginia and shipped on to
Yeah.
Italy.
Well, going back to, you know, kind of the beginning as you're getting your initial training and stuff, was there a thought between you or any of your comrades that, like, well, I hope I go to Europe or I hope I go to the Pacific? Did it cross your mind? Did it matter? Or
Well, you see, when we got there and we did all what we had done, you know, in there in Europe, we were going to go back to the Pacific. But at that time, I had enough points to get out. So I didn't claim my points there when I was overseas. Because I figured that we were going to get stuck in Naples, wait for shipping out, you know, to the United States. And I figured that if I come in my division, my regiment, it was better for me because I could come back to the state.
okay.
And I had enough coins to get out and don't go to the Pacific.
Yeah.
That was the way I figured that they was going to do it. You know?
Yeah. But going back to the very beginning, like literally shortly after you were drafted, like what's going through your mind at that time? Are you thinking, you know, was there any kind of idea that it would be better to go to one theater over the next, or to get into a particular type of?
I didn't have no idea that we was going to go both theaters.
Yeah. You just knew that whatever was going to come down the pipe, you had to do.
Yeah. I knew that when they sent us as a regiment to the Pacific, I know that we weren't going to stay there. I mean, what you listen, what was going on, nothing. So we come back to the States.
Yeah. So you're married at the time that you're drafted, and how did your wife and parents feel about you getting drafted? And
you know,
what
I'm
was
going
that
to tell you
like?
something about my wife. My wife know more what I was doing out there than I knew there, because, you know, I mean, she always listened to the news. And then she get in contact with I told you that guy that went with us.
Bruce?
Bruce.
Uh-huh.
See, she was good friend of Bruce's mother. And he used to tell her where we was.
Oh, wow.
And all that kind.
Yeah. How old was your daughter at the time that you were drafted?
She was
Just
she was at 2 weeks when I was on the
Ah.
service.
So from the
They
time
gave me a chance from Michigan to come over here, leave my family, join them.
Okay.
in the draft.
So then you're sent away, and she's just a few weeks old. That's the last time you see her. When is the next time you
Well,
see
the
her?
next time, a lieutenant friend of mine in the company was asking me a lot of questions, you know, sometimes, and where I was from and all that, and I told him that I was from Texas. He got kicked out of that because there was not very many from Texas in the division.
Yeah.
And he says, and I told him that I had my daughter just born, and I didn't have much chance to see him. So I got a furlough after 3 months I was in the service.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you saw her then.
I come back
Yeah.
and stayed 16 days.
16 days.
And then right after that, I went on to the Pacific.
And then when you went on to the Pacific and then over to Europe, Was there a long period of time that you didn't see your family?
Yes, I had that training. I stayed quite a long time right there in Texas, and I used to come over on the weekends if I have a chance.
Yeah.
But I saw him just before I went to Europe.
Okay.
And my wife was already expecting the second shot.
Okay.
You remember Ruben? We used to say, call him Pache. He's in New Orleans. I just came back from there.
Oh, wow.
I spent about a week.
Is his home situation okay?
Yes. His house home wasn't damaged very much.
Oh, good. Okay, so, excuse me. You go to the Pacific first, to the Aleutians, right? And what were your responsibilities there? What action took place there?
Well, see, the only thing that I knew that we land in Ireland, I can't think of the name. There was a Navy base there. And then from there, they got us on the boat and went to Kiska, and we make a land there in Kiska Harbor.
Were there Japanese there?
They are Japanese.
Yeah.
They were so fog, you couldn't see nothing. We were going in, and the Japanese were getting the other side of the island. They were getting out of the island.
Yeah.
For some reason, they knew that that particular regiment was trained up in the mountains. And I figured myself that there was a reason why they can't take care of us.
Yeah.
Because we know how to get that. So that's the training we had.
So you're transported there by boat, right? You're transported to this island by boat.
By boat, yeah.
And then how do you get around the island?
Landing boats.
In the landing boats?
12 o'clock at night. We don't land until 6 o'clock in the morning.
Wow. And then when you get there, are you
When
marching
we get
forward?
there,
Or what
we're so fog, we don't know where the enemy was. Nothing. The only thing we can see is just shells going off and over the island.
Yeah. Are they shells coming from your boats?
From everywhere.
Yeah.
From everywhere.
Okay. And then so you're going to have to march forward through the island, right?
You had to get in to the island, and then we were having trouble because there was a lot of rocks and everything. The landing barge can get too close to the landing.
Yeah.
So we had to get out because we could stay in that boat. Water way up to here.
Was it real cold?
But it was. And the thing was that some of those guys, they told us how to prepare for that. And some of them didn't put any attention. They don't have extra socks, extra everything you pack,
Yeah.
But I have everything I need. See,
Yeah.
when I got there, and the first chance I had to change my socks and put new socks and everything. And the guy told me, I said, how about give me a pair? I said, no. So you have your chance to.
Yeah.
I said, I told you people that we were going to.
Yeah.
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 And right after that, when I was feel better because I was wet all over.
Yeah. What weapons did you have?
I had the M1 rifle.
Okay. It's a semi-automatic rifle?
Yes, it's just a rifle. And because we have all kinds of weapons, in the platoon.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So you met a lot of resistance there.
Well, there was a lot of shooting, and I tell you the truth, you can never see where you were shooting at. It was so fog.
Yeah.
The only thing you can hear those shells laying pretty close to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was, and I did heard that the Japanese was getting off the island. And
Okay.
they did.
They did. They
There
fled.
were few. We have casualties in there.
Yeah. Okay. Did they Okay, did they have like boats there and stuff? Like, how did they escape? Were they fly? Did they? How did they get away?
Years passed, you know, and I was reading in this magazine so that island there was a submarine in the other end of the island hiding. See? And I mean, I see this in the magazine. I don't know where it is, but you know, I had that magazine.
Mm-hmm.
And they figured they were getting into this submarine, whatever, and tried to skip. You know.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I didn't see no boats or anything like that.
Yeah,
Japanese boat.
So once you secure the island, then what are you?
And we stay there. We stay there for a while until the orders come through to come back to the States. And at that time, it took us 24 days from Dutch Harbor to Seattle, Washington.
Oh wow!
So we hit a storm, and it was bad. 90 miles an hour. The boat was sweeping just like nothing, you know, all over. And we finally got into Seattle, Washington. And then we stayed there for a couple of weeks, and then we come back to Camp Carson, Colorado, where we stay there for the rest of the two regiments, getting the same training that we had.
Mm-hmm.
When we got through with that, then we got into Texas and have that flat infantry training because we didn't have that.
Yeah.
We had a lot of training of different amphibian landing,
Right.
cross country training, you know, everything.
Okay, and then when do you get your orders to go to Europe?
That was in January. Well, that's the New Year's because we got there on the 13th of January into the play the Pisa.
This would be 44?
1945.
45.
Same year. Yeah.
Jan 45. Okay.
See, they took all the 36th, 91st, 24th Division, 1st Armored Division, in to France to make that big Normandy.
Yeah. D-Day.
And they were having trouble with these mountains. That's the reason why we got there and cleaned all those mountains.
The mines?
Mountains.
Mountains. Okay, mountains. Sorry. Okay. But how literally, like, where did you depart from the United States from, and where did you land? Where did you get to first?
Fort North, Virginia.
So you left from Virginia.
Virginia, and I think we was in the first because it took us about 12 days to get there, 14 days. It was a big boat.
But where did you go specifically?
From there, from Virginia, we went on to Naples. We landed in Naples.
You landed in Naples. Okay.
And then we went all through all those towns in there. That's a lot of towns and bad. You know, it was pretty bad hurt. And we have air attack a couple times, you know, and they were just lucky they never did hit the train where we were going.
Yeah.
You know, we went by train to Pisa. And then we camped there in Pisa. We got organized to make this push on February.
Mm-hmm.
They gave us that first attack from February to March to take that certain area. And then from April, we took the rest of them to where it was over. Yeah.
Where would you say you met the stiffest resistance in the?
It was the first month that we went. It was early morning, dark, couldn't see nothing, just barbed wires all over the place. And we got that month, but I lost my messenger boy and lieutenant. They were killed, and we went on from there. And then, you know, some days we had pretty heavy.
Yeah. What happened to your lieutenant?
He was killed.
But what happened to him?
What do you call it? Big gun. 30, I can't pronounce that.
Like a howitzer, like a big
No,
cannon?
it was a big Germans had this 88s.
The 88s,
you
yeah.
know, those big guns.
Ooh, okay. Okay, so it's kind of mountain to mountain fighting
Right.
through that time period. Okay. And what is, and so do you have air support and artillery
Yes, we
support,
do.
and you've got all that?
We can get anything we want if we order. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't order just accept whatever was in the ground right in front of me. You know, because
Yeah.
I took over after my sergeant was killed.
Yeah.
And
And so how many, when you took over, how many men did you have in your responsibility?
there were 14.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you what, we went on the Lake Garda. We were leading the last push. We went to barbed wire and everything, just that squad that I had. We got through. When we got through, got on the highway and around the mountain, there was a roadblock, railroad tracks, stuck like that.
Yeah.
And then we just sailed that thing, and we lucky we don't lose one man in that.
Oh, wow.
Until the first town that we got there. But just as, I think we were about 14 or something like that. And we got that town just with the weapons that we had.
Mm-hmm.
Then we sent the Boy Scout to get, and we had about 4 guys hurt. So we had to send those back in.
Yeah.
We didn't have no help. They don't even know what had happened to us.
Yeah.
Because the rest of the convoy couldn't get through.
Yeah.
Until the first scout went and took those wounded men and led them over the mountain where we were in the first one.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And then we just went on, and just as soon as we got clear of that town after that, the 86 Regiment relieved us. And I didn't know anything until the war was over, because they took over from there.
Yeah. Well, in that situation, you know, being like in a mountainous type, you know, situation, like, how did you transport your wounded? How did you get them out of there?
What do you mean?
Well, like if somebody goes down, it seems like it would be kind of a difficult thing to move, like especially if you're engaged in combat.
Well,
Like, what was the
well, if it
procedures?
was weapons, we have mule packs to take the
Okay.
weapons over there. And whether they were injured, well, we had a special troops to take care of that.
Okay.
The wounded man and get him back into
Yeah. Did you have
whatever
any?
the station was.
Yeah. Did you have any situations where you took prisoners?
A lot of,
A lot of them.
oh, a lot of. The prison was coming just as fast as was going in.
What would you do with them?
Send it back. You send it back, somebody would take care of it.
Yeah.
So it was a Polish soldier, because he was fighting with the Germans, you know. One early morning we had real hard fight. And I was in this building when he came to me. He says, "You don't want to get killed." I said, "Well, me either, you better go back."
He's speaking English to you?
Yes.
Yeah.
He said, "I don't want to get hurt." I said, "Me either, but you better get out of my side."
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. You know, you get kicked out of a lot of things, and sometimes you feel sorry you say those things. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because they were just in a bad shape that we were. I mean, we don't want to get killed.
Right. Right.
And I had in my mind that I wasn't going to get killed.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
Because I figured if I have that in my mind, that it was just bad.
Yeah.
Mm.
Did you talk to many of them, or?
We captured one. I think it was a colonel. Speak good English. He was coming in the jeep. It's when they give up, you know. And the only thing he said, you have what he says, a tough troops. That's all what I heard from him.
Yeah.
And he went on.
Wow.
And you see, somebody else got credit for that because it was a big brass, you know. Some of the company, but we were the one that was.
It was getting it done.
Yeah, because we were leading the push.
Yeah.
Mm.
Wow.
And we don't have time to mess around like that.
Interrogate them.
Yeah.
Well, did you ever, like, you know, if you're taking these massive amount of prisoners and stuff, did you ever get like a German uniform or a souvenir of any kind or anything?
No,
like
I got a bayonet and a toy and a Mauser, German Mauser.
Uh-huh.
But they stole it from me.
Oh no.
Yeah, I got that. And you know that, you know, there was on the 3rd of May. I saw this guy coming in, kind of short fella, coming in, and I turned around and I saw PW. You see.
Uh-huh.
So I was in the inn in the church, you know, and I hollered at him to come back. And he says, "Where are you from?" I says, "I'm from Crystal City, Texas." He said, "I'm from Del Rio."
Wow.
You know, a year passed.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about this guy. You know, that's all what he told me.
Yeah.
So he went back. And when I was working at the Tavern before I bought it, there was a man, a salesman, vegetable salesman, Rains or something like that, from Del Rio. Deliver some. And one day we were talking, you know, and he said, I have I think he said brother. He was in the Pacific. He was a PW. He was. Kind of short fella. Yeah. He said it was my brother-in-law.
Oh wow.
And he found out that I was here in Crystal.
Yeah.
But I think he moved to somewhere, and he was trained. He got trained to do some dusting.
Uh-huh.
But he did call me.
Huh. Small world.
Yeah.
Mm. And so you got your Bronze Star was
I
for.
got the Bronze Star on the last push of when I took over.
Okay. Okay. Did you get two?
I get to.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You get two. And, but was one.
One for occupation from Sicily. See, I was in that territory.
Yeah.
From Sicily. Oh, the second one.
Yeah.
Well, I think it was the first one.
Yeah.
Because those medals weren't sent to me until they were signed on the 50s. I don't remember but the year is there.
Oh wow.
But I don't have those until 1943 that I was with my wife. She had a cancer, leukemia, and was laying in the hospital in San Antonio. And one day before she died, I had those medals.
Wait, what year was this?
She was in the hospital in San Antonio.
Uh-huh.
She was already nothing they can do.
Yeah.
You know. So on the week of July, the first part of the week, my sister-in-law got those medals here, and they took it to me to San Antonio.
Oh wow.
So,
Yeah.
and the 4th of July, it was on Sunday. I'll never forget that. He told me, I says, why don't you put it, my wife didn't know nothing from that. And then bed, he says, so if he can see, you know, because he always wanted to see, you know, to push me to get those medals.
Yeah.
I know what I had, but I didn't have the medals. You see.
Yeah.
So anyway, I displaced this right on her bed, and I talked to her here, and I says, "Here's the medals. Do you want to see?" And you see the tears coming out. You know.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's what she did. And the next day he passed away.
Oh, my goodness. That's an incredible story.
It was,
Now, but when did she pass away? What year was it?
yeah. In 1943.
93?
No.
93.
93. Yeah. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay, so back to Italy. Where were you when you got the news that the war was over?
Lago de Garda. Lago de Garda is the name.
Lego de Gala?
Garda.
Garda.
When we got the news, it was the 3rd of May, early morning, that the war was over. And we keep on seeing these officers and things like that coming in, and some of the prisoners, they were close there, you know.
Yeah. So, do you remember what your thoughts were at that time, like how you felt?
Well, I was just glad the war was over.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's, you don't have no idea how they changed, because I went back to Europe in 1996, I think it was.
Was that your first time back since the 40s?
I went to Europe as a civilian because I wanted to take my daughter where the places that I went through,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But when we got to Lake Garda, those mountains that I went through wasn't there. They were just flat lakes all over the place.
Oh,
You'd be
wow.
surprised how pretty it was.
Yeah.
And what I wanted is to go on the other side of the lake, Garda, Lago de Garda, because it was the house of Mussolini. It was a
Oh,
38 rooms house where he come over and rest, you know.
Yeah.
And we got in this side of the lake, just right in front of that.
Yeah.
The relievers that took over all those places, you know.
Yeah.
But when I went back to Europe, we went back in that house. It was a nursing home.
Oh, it's still there.
Yeah, still there.
Yeah.
And my daughter told me, she says, "Sister, I want to bring you when you get older." I got tickled of that. But you know, that I think I had some things in here. Book that they have all the islands that were built right there.
Oh, okay.
And I stay in one they call Simon Island. And then from there, we went on to Venetia, going all over places.
Yeah.
We
Well-
went on to France, to
Okay. I just want to make sure I had this right. When you left after the war, the first time you went back was when you returned with your daughter in 96?
in '96.
That's the first time that you went
The
back?
first time I went back. Well, this was the only time I went
Oh,
back.
the only, okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Because
okay.
I wanted to see the place.
Yeah.
And I was surprised how beautiful it was, you know, because then it was just mountains.
Yeah.
And I had a letter right here where I haven't talked to this lady. Her father and father friend, you can read that letter so you can understand it better.
A friend of mine gave me your address. Her dad and my dad were both in the 10th Mountain Division. Hers is an engineer and mine in the light infantry in 87B. She states you were also in the 87th. I was hoping you and my dad may have been in the same company or unit. My dad is Lyle Wayne Moose. Do you remember him?
No, you
Yeah.
see, he was in B company, I think it was.
Yep.
No, and that he was a replacement, one of the guys. See, so those replacements we have it one day, and the next day we're gone. So, you know.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it says he's a
And
replacement.
this group, the way they found out, they come in a motorcycle because this Highway 83 is to the Vietnam veterans, the 83.
Uh-huh.
There's a monument right outside over there. Now, and they come in these motorcycles this year, and one of the ladies was coming in that troop, in those motorcycles, and I met them
Oh, cool.
here, and
Yeah, that's neat. Well, okay, so war's over. You come back home. When did you get back to Crystal City?
I got back to Crystal City in 1945.
Okay, so it was a little later in the summer, fall?
There was I think it was in December.
Oh, it was all the way in December of 45? Okay. What did you have to hang around for, what were some of the things you had to do just before you could get
When I
back home?
come here, see, my brother had a store, and I started working there, in the store, and then Mr. Ben Goldker was the owner of the Tavern restaurant at that time, come into my house, and he told me if I want to work. I said, what kind of work? He said, the waiter out there in the cafe. I said, well, I've never been a waiter, but I'll try. And that's the funnest thing. So I tried. First 3 months I was there, he says, you know what? He says, you better go to the bank. They want to talk to you. I said, why do they want to talk to me? I don't have no money in the bank. He said, you go there. And he stood there watching the business. So I went over there and I said, Mr. Gold told me to come over. And he said, yes. He says, we want you to sign this card here. I said, what about it? He said, so you can sign the checks at the time.
Yeah.
3 months after I was,
Wow.
and I worked there, and he passed away, and his wife passed away, but his wife had sold it to me already, the time.
What year did you start there?
Huh?
What year?
That was the only thing in 46.
Oh, you started there in 46. Oh, wow. That's it. So, gosh, it was Tavern pretty much your entire life there.
I spent my entire life right in that place.
Wow.
In 48, I went back to the hospital, which they never did nothing to me. I sat a month in there, and I says, I can't be sitting here.
Yeah.
So I have to get out of here.
Yeah. Yeah. When were you able to purchase the Tavern?
I think it was in 77, I think. 1977.
77? Okay. All right. So, did you, when Korea rolls around, was there any thought that you might get pulled back into that?
No. Just like I said, surgery was over for me because I had enough points to
You
get
had
out.
earned your points.
Yeah, I learned my points from the medals and things like that.
Okay.
So there was no way I can go.
Had you not earned those points when the war was
I
over,
hope-
could you have been eligible?
Yes, if I would. But I have already been in the Pacific in the first place.
Yeah.
See. So I have quite a number of points there. Then I went to Europe and I had
Yeah.
all what you get. It's so many points to each thing. And it was the only reason why I don't get out of that fit in Europe, because I don't want to get stuck there.
Right.
Because they were busy sending all the troops back to the United States
Yeah.
to go into the Pacific. But when we were coming down in the Pacific, the war was over in Japan.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So when you didn't like achieve your point total to come home before the war was over,
I
right?
didn't. They don't even know. They see what happened when we got to the States. The war was over, so they shipped all the Texas to Fort Sam. See, all the Texas people that were there, the Senate, They're coming in that same boat that we come to Texas.
Mm-hmm.
When I got to Texas, they give me 30 days to force them here. Give me 30 days further. When we're back to serve, they give me discharge.
Okay.
So I don't know whether you know that I had enough points, but I did know that I was going to claim
Yeah.
in case if I was going to have to go.
Yeah. Wow. So you're able to come back home and you go to work at the tavern, and that is what you do.
That's my life.
Yeah. Well, did you know, just kind of some personal things from our perspective? Did you know my grandfather Dave Carr very well? Dave Carr.
Yes.
Yeah.
You see, this story that I was telling you about my brother, I'm going to tell you how good a person is. I was working there, and he had a lot of people from Mexico working in there, and they buying the grocery from my brother's store, and my brother's store give them credit. 1946 that I started working in that store. He told me, my brother told me, he said, why don't you get some of those papers straight? And I was taking these papers, you know, and then I saw one check and I put it on. Another check, 1942. And I said, look at these checks. What are you doing change? He says, I didn't know that I put them in there. And there was Mr. Carr's checks and his son, the oldest one.
Buddy.
Huh?
Buddy.
Buddy, he pick them up, checks and give us and you.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And my brother, we supplies all the people that we work with.
Wow.
I know all the cars, since the little ones to the oldest one.
Yeah. Okay. Would they come out to the tavern a lot?
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah.
The pipes, the cars, everything.
Yeah. Yeah, so you knew my other grandfather,
Oh, yeah.
Bob Pipes, for a while.
I know.
Yeah. I was, Susie my sister here was fortunate to be a little bit older before he passed, but I was only 6 when he died, and then of course he had leukemia as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't get to know him when he was healthy.
But
strong man.
that's one thing that if you get leukemia, there's no way to cure. They think they did, but they have cleared that because I was going to take my wife to Europe. And we went to a dance. We danced half of the night, and the next day he said, you know what, I feel weak. I said, well, I'm going to take it to the doctor. Well, we just came in from there about a month. So, took it to the doctor here, which was her doctor, and the doctor came out and he says, can I get a permission to call the doctor in San Antonio? Yes. So, I know there was something wrong. So, when he came back, he says, you take your wife as soon as possible, as fast as you can get him over there. He doesn't have a drop of blood in her body. And I took her into San Antonio that day, and only left. She lived only 27 days. After a long time without,
Yeah. Yeah.
So she didn't have the chance to go. And I said to myself, and I said to God, and I said, well, in a way, thank you that I lost her before I can take her over there, because I knew that he couldn't take that trip.
Yeah. Yeah. Gosh, so you were married over 50 years? Wow. That's amazing. Well, I remember the tavern when I was very young, and I always enjoyed going out there. When did it close?
I closed that in 1993.
93?
See, because I couldn't, take care of my wife and the in and out, so I closed it in May. She passed in July.
Well, I'm sure there are, just tons of...
Yesterday at the bank, Let's see, this guy is Mike. Mike what? Can't think his last name, but tall fella. I used to sit him in a chair.
Mike Kirk.
Mike who?
Kirk.
Kurt. His wife and the same thing.
Joy is Barnes' aunt.
Oh, okay. You used to set him up in a baby
Oh,
chair?
And he's-
You know, another one married to, he's a lawyer, John
Petrie.
Petrie. I forget the kid. He come in there and he went, when he's a kid, you know.
Yeah.
I want some tamales, I want some tamales. So, that's all he eat. Yeah. Well, you got to grow up. He eat those big steaks,
Yeah.
always. And he, I guess to take it with him, he covered with black pepper.
Yeah.
Terrible.
And Ken George ate free toki
Oh
every time
yes,
he
I
went.
used to have a lot of kids from B Wells, you know. That's just about the end of the month. He says, Ruben, we don't got any money. Can you let it? Well, I says, I have to pay for it myself. I can't give you no credit. Well, we pay you to eat the free token. I used to pay for it. And the boss used to get tickled and said, well, go ahead and just charge. And I said, no. I says, we don't have charge
Yeah.
business.
Yeah.
See, I was running the business, you see.
Right. Yeah.
And Harry Thompson used
Harry
that for
Thompson.
his kitchen.
Yeah. You see, Harry Thompson, he wasn't as fat as his daddy was.
Oh, really?
He was just a young kid, you know, and boy, and he started to grow. And he's just as fat as his daddy.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
The lady, his wife, I'll never forget, used to come in and cry. He'd see me and cry. I guess he was afraid of me, and then she cried. Then he grew up. I couldn't get her away from me.
Oh, that's funny. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with us. Like I said, I've always had an interest in this history and the people that lived through it, and like to hear their experiences, and especially people that I've got a connection with. I mean, I remember you from when I was a little bitty boy going into the tavern. So that's it's nice to hear your experiences through that, and I appreciate that. So it was very enjoyable.
Well, thank you for coming over. You get a lot of things out of my chest.
Good. All right.
It's amazing that y'all can remember. I didn't go with Scott when he talked to Errol Johnson or to Dale, but I mean, y'all can remember months and years and men, and I can't remember what I did last week. And I'm amazed that because what went through your mind,
Yeah, right.
you would think you would forget it because it was a traumatic thing, but y'all can
Well,
say months.
myself, I can't forget it. Sometimes, you see, at night, I used to kind of, shake my wife from the bed, and, but that go away. And if I get to talk to him, I would like to talk. Just to get it out of my. Lots of people over here, you see, they went through. Especially these young people that went to, I hate to say this, but these young people, they went to Vietnam. Very spoiled people. The reason why I'm going to tell you. They get all the attention they want. They get 100% ability. And there's nothing wrong with them. They just act that way.
Right.
You see?
Yeah.
To get, as soon as they get that pension, they're just as happy as everybody else.
Yeah.
I mean, I find out this because one time this guy said to me, look what the doctor told me. See all the things that are wrong with me. I said, say, you're not kidding me. You got there at the, what do you call them, the television. I mean,
Yeah.
They get all this.
Yeah.
I know a guy, he got ribbons all over, he was in the Navy. And I says, no way in the world that boat that you were seeing sign in was on all those medals there. I mean, when you was in there, that's all you owned. When you was in that ship, rest of the medals or rest of the ribbons, you don't own them.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
You better watch yourself because they give you a court martial. He never talked to me again.
Yeah.
I know a colonel. They give him because using the wrong
Yeah.
ribbons.
You know, I think it's interesting that just last year, or in the last couple of years, I guess, that, you know, there was finally a World War II.
Let me see. 290 something.
Yeah.
Eh? Okay, you look at that highway, and it's dedicated to my division, 10th Mountain Division.
Oh, wow. That's cool. Well, I was going to say, in reference to what you were just talking about, you know, I think it's fascinating, you know, that World War II, you know, I don't think there's any question, you know, that's kind of that's
that was
the big
the
one.
goal.
You know, that was the big
And they
one.
don't have the 90% of the veterans from Second War don't have the benefits.
It's amazing, yeah. And
At that time, even the doctor wasn't smart enough to take care of it.
yeah,
Because I know I was there
yeah.
in the hospital.
But you know, just the last couple of years, they finally dedicated the memorial, and I'm thinking, okay, there's been a
You know
Vietnam
Bob
memorial.
Bob told the guy who is in charge of that.
Uh-huh.
Well, he was in the 87 Regiment in 10th Mountain Division.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
He was wounded right below Poor Valley
Okay.
in April sometimes in there.
Yeah.
He was just a kid.
Yeah.
He was 20 years old, 21 years old.
Well, I think that's a testament to what you were just talking about. That, you know, in
He
the
tells-
most pivotal point in American history, the
Sure.
biggest war, and you know, it was like that generation just said, well, you know, we kind of did what we had to do, and there was never a memorial dedicated to him until just a couple of years ago. You know?
Second War was hard to get anything,
Yeah.
medals or anything.
Yeah.
You had to do something to own it.
Yeah.
Now even the guys that work in the office department, they give themselves their loans. They just
Yeah.
a tickle because I tell them, you know, and they just look at me and say, and look how many years it took us to make that wall. And the reason why they make well, I contribute to. I was a member. I was giving them $100 a month. Finally got tired. I said, I can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
And they got it ready.
Yeah.
And the reason why I said excuse me a while ago, because Bob Doe is one of the biggest liars I ever seen in my life. But the division,
Yeah.
he says in one speech that he said that the order to get you in the 10-man division, you had to have an application to get in. You did.
Yeah.
You need the man, you get him in there, put him in there regardless. When
Right.
we were overseas, nobody had the training that all the replacement we have, they didn't have the training that we had.
Right.
We have a hard time for
Yeah.
them. You know, it was a hard time. The kid not used to high mountains and all that kind.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Ruben, so you're talking about the benefits. You couldn't have taken Carmen to Wilford Hall or something like that.
Not at that time. Not at that time.
Because what I remember is, you remember Rod Bookout and
Yes.
Peggy Bookout,
Uh-huh.
and when Peggy got sick, she went to Wilford
Yes,
Hall.
yes, because you see that they come in at that time, but at that time, no.
Mm.
So Peggy and Rod were in the military,
Uh-huh.
but not in
Yeah.
World War II. Is
What
that
year
right?
was that?
I don't know.
I don't know. Well, I don't remember. I know the guy like Earl Johnson, his brother. He was in when they bombed Pearl Harbor. His brother was in there. He was in the Navy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Brother Johnson.
Brother Johnson.
Never
Yeah.
forget him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
He
so-
was an interesting character.
None of your brothers were in the
I had one brother my oldest brother, the one that used to own the store, was in Second World, and my younger brother was in Korea occupation when the war was over in Europe. You know, the war
Okay.
was over. Okay, now, so he was entitled to have victory medal. Nobody else, even the ones that were there after that, they can get that medal. See? And that was the reason why he was a Second World veteran. See?
And you had 2 Bronze Stars, a Purple Heart.
Who, me? Okay. And I have, okay, well, they call those a medal, is the Victory Medal, Asiatic Pacific Medal, and European Theater Medal. That's 3. That's 8 medals altogether.
What was your process to get the medals? Phone calls and
I'm
letters?
going to
and-
tell you this story. This man, he was in the Navy, and he came out in the Navy, and he went to school and he was a lawyer out of New Mexico somewhere. Now, that man was in the boat that took me to make the landing over there. You see?
Oh, wow.
And the reason why, story too, his mother has a property, I don't know if it still has, a cometa. And he used to come and see her, and went over there to the Tavern and eat. And he always talk to me and put his hand like this. I said, "Why do you put your hand like that?" "Well, because I was a gunner on the boat, so and so." "You do?" I says, "Do you remember taking somebody to Kiska Harbor?" "Yes." I said, "Well, so I was one of them."
Oh, wow.
And he was the one that gave me the forms. He said, "I'm going to send it to you." You see?
Yeah.
And you fill it out, and you send it to, and you get all your medals. And I had a friend here that helped me to, just like you do, introduce me, and I told him which one's in this and that. And it's the way I got it.
Yeah.
But I did have the Purple Heart and the Brown Star before I got it the one time. I didn't know that I had 2.
Yeah.
See what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wow.
I know until I make that application, see, and the reason why they were signed later in the years, because that main office in San Luis burned up all the papers, all the government papers and everything.
Mm.
See?
Yeah.
And it took a long time to get all together.
Yeah. Well, it's good that you have them now. Yeah.
Do you keep
But-
track of any of the men that you were in with, the squads?
I used to. Now, I went over there to Louisiana and Cushada, and I was eating a sandwich, and when I was eating the sandwich, I saw a fella in a wheelchair come to me, and he says, "You was in the tent money division?" I said, "Yes." "I was in K Company." He says, "I was in K Company too." And I looked at him and I couldn't recognize him.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to ask him what happened to you, you know, anything like that.
Right.
And I said, "What do you mean K Company?" "Yeah, and she was in the service department. It's away from us, from the..." you know.
Right, right.
And that's the reason why I never see him, because I never see anybody with the back.
Yeah, yeah.
And I saw a colored boy in Louisiana too. I was outside to taking the boat to go for a rest at the motel, and he said, "You know what?" Says, I was in the second division, second war. You know, there was the colored people. Second war, they were all colored people. They were fighting right against, next to us.
Yeah.
And that guy started crying right there. And I looked at people, they don't know what was going on.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
And they were very strong men.
Yeah.
But he was in the second. They were good soldiers. They were good soldiers.
Yeah.
But at that time they had the officer was Anglo people.
Anglo, yeah.
Most of them.
Yeah, that's hard to imagine now, but it was
Yeah.
just a different time, I guess.
Well, you know, it's we human. We have to realize that. You know,
Yeah.
when if we can get along together with.
Right. Yeah.
There's a lot of things going on that I don't like, and I don't put no attention to them because they have never happened to me. And Uvalde was a place, they had a sign in there, no Mexicans. So I went in there and I used to go over there and eat breakfast every day. And finally this old man said, one morning, I thought he was going to say, you better not come in here. He says, how you doing, doctor? I said, fine. He keep on telling me, you know, doctor and doctor. And I says, I'm not a doctor. Yes, you are. Okay. And a guy, even a preacher from here from Crystal City, went into this place and told him, can sell them. And a friend of mine, because they don't believe me.
Yeah.
I said, I go over there, always go over there in the morning and eat breakfast.
Oh, wow.
The waitress knows that I wasn't no Anglo.
Yeah.
And he used to get kicked out of that.
Yeah.
You know, he says, when I was watching, he says, you're lucky.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
But I guess it tickled. And I still remember sometimes when I start laughing myself. Because that place, finally, they tore it all to pieces and did something else.
Yeah.
But I tell them, the guys in Uvalde, in Kincaid, I used to go over there and eat.
Yeah.
I never had any problem.
Ruben, how did you keep when you took over for that lieutenant, how would you keep your troops